Napoli fans all over the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. And it's another 3 points from Napoli, away from home at Sassuolo. But were we away from home? Because, guys, the traveling fans were everywhere in that stadium. This felt like a home game. So, shout out to all the Napoli fans that showed up at Sassuolo today. And obviously, you couldn't be there if you were from Naples because they had a restriction against it. But there are so many Napoli fans, not only around the world, but also in that region of Italy and all over the surrounding regions that all made it to the stadium. And it was a joy to watch those fans singing away from home. La capolista se ne va, un giorno all'improvviso. That for me was so special at the end, and I wanna start the stream from the very end, from the fans, because I think, guys, before we talk about Osimhen and Kvara and the actual game, the football, like I don't think maybe we're realizing what it is that this team is doing for the fans, for the people. I mean, you've got people that haven't seen this team win in 30 years, right? Probably thought they were gonna die before something like this happened, and instead here we are, and it's incredible, guys. And I just want to say, man, just for all you guys watching, to enjoy these moments. Try to go see Napoli if you can. Take that flight. Take it. Book that flight. Go see Napoli. Go see them play. And just enjoy what this team is doing, and it's incredible, guys. I don't know. I think today seeing all those fans away from home, it brought it to a whole new level, because you expect it at home, but wow, at Sassuolo. I mean, Sassuolo has always been a place where we always had 7,000-8,000 fans, right? But to see it even when the away fans were in theory not permitted to go, it's crazy. All right, let's get some comments. Jack Su is very, very worried about Osimhen, and he's asking any news about Osimhen. Guys, I saw him celebrate after the goal that was then disallowed from Simeone. He had a big smile on his face. He was moving, he was walking, so I think it's gonna be fine. And look, guys, I mean, Osimhen's a great player, but this team is so good that even if we have to not play him on Tuesday, I still think Simeone could do a good job. So obviously I would much rather have Osimhen. Don't misinterpret me there. But, it's not like we're playing Petagna, right? Last year, honestly, it would have been better off to put Spalletti up top, or I don't know, Tommaso, the big guy from that makes the coffees. But no, I mean, this year we've got an actual backup striker that's good enough to play. So hopefully Osimhen's fine. If he needs to rest against Frankfurt, honestly, I think it's not the end of the world. So yeah, but I hope that answers your question, Jack. So, and I hope that calms people down. Obviously, I don't know. I'm no doctor, so I don't know anything, and I'm not there. So I don't know, but I hope it's nothing serious. It's been 5 minutes that I've been rambling on about fans, this, that, and the other. But I know you guys want me to talk about Kvara's goal and Osimhen's goal, and they were, guys. What did they do with those goals, man? Very close. I mean, it's a shame almost that both of these goals happen on the same game, because one of them, I mean, they both deserve to be scored in different games so that they're the talking point, the single most important talking point of the game. The fact that it's the two of them, I don't know, it's kind of like they share the spotlight, which, I would have preferred them being in separate games, but, you can't complain, right? I'm literally complaining about we saw too much good football, which is stupid now that I think about it. Anyways, guys, there's so many of you joining this live, like you always do. But it makes me always very sad when I don't see that each and every one of you is smashing the like button. So So after you answer, so this is what we're gonna do, all right? Because we all have to do our work, all right? The players did their 90 minutes. Now it's our turn. It's my turn to speak, and it's your turn to vote between Kvara and Osimhen and to smash that like button, okay? And then that's your job done. After that point, you can just go back to full screen and enjoying the video. But it really helps the content, the community, and all that, and my morale to see those numbers go up. Let's see. Pvito, thank you so much, man, for the $5 Australian. Thanks for your support, my man. He says, I love seeing Lozano being subbed in and doing a great job. He was again decisive defensively as well. It's awesome to see him in great form. Yeah, I did really like Lozano. He also, I don't know what you call it when you assist someone, but it's offside, so it doesn't count. He kind of assisted a kind of goal from Simeone. Let's call it like that. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I mean, I liked it because he put his head up, picked out the pass, spot on. Obviously, you can blame him for being offside. I don't think he needed to be so many, I think a few meters offside, which is just not cool. Not cool, my man. Gotta calm it down a little bit. But apart from that, yeah, the thing is with the substitutes today, and you'll see it in my player ratings later on, I didn't give them such high rankings because first off, I think the starters did such a good job. I wanted to reward them a little bit more, and then by the time that they were subbed on, I feel like the game was pretty much over. I know Sassuolo had a few little minor chances here and there, but I mean, let's be honest, the game was over. Whatever thing they did on the field just wasn't at that point, very much contributing to the final result or overall performance of the team, let's say. So yeah, even though, they did well, yeah. Anyways, let's get some more comments, guys. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna keep reading some comments, all right? Because I want this channel to be about you guys as well. I'm gonna read your comments. You guys keep smashing the like button and keep commenting and keep voting of the video and the player ratings. But I mean, if you're not smashing the like button, then why would I show you my player ratings, right? Maximus1318 says, getting tired of every Napoli game they constantly bring up where Kvara and Osimhen might go to next. Yeah, it's getting ridiculous, man. Every game, just let them cook here, and I like that unlike last year and unlike the previous years, this year no one's coming out with like, oh yeah, but I want to have more game time, or oh my agent is saying this, or agent speaking. Like, everything is pretty quiet. I mean, there was that one slight moment from Elmas earlier on in the season where he posted a story on Instagram saying like, here's my best friend, and pointed to the bench, and that created a little bit of, but apart from that, no one's complained about anything. Agents have not come out saying anything that puts people's contracts into discussion. In fact, every time someone has come out and spoken about something, they've said, I'm having a great time. I'm not thinking about any transfer. In fact, I want to stay in Naples. So, in Napoli. So, the OBS has disconnected and reconnected. So anyways, I was saying, guys, why is that doing that? All right. I don't know why it disconnected for a little bit. Anyways, I think we're back on track. I think it happens when my computer isn't plugged in properly, by the way. It basically just dies if it's not plugged in, so I've made sure it's plugged in. I've been saying anyways, sorry about that, fellas. I think at least it disconnected, even though you guys didn't say anything in the comments. Anyways, I was saying, yeah, everybody wants to stay, and an offer might come, but I think De Laurentiis is gonna put up a really high price, and even if he does accept the price, then it's a matter of, well, do Osimhen and Kvara actually want to leave Napoli. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Joe Java says, read my comment. All right. Usually I don't prioritize people that are just like read my comment, but I'll do it for Joe. He says Kvara's goal was in the style of Diego Maradona, and that's why I did it, because I had read that comment before and I wanted to read it because it's true. It's true. It was in the style of Diego Maradona, and that's why we call him Kvaradona, because I think since Maradona, I think he's the most complete player we've had. And I like to think of Diego as a very complete, obviously Diego's a different level, but he's a very complete player, right? He knew how to shoot, dribble, assist, all these kind of things, and did every one of those things very well. Kvara's got that same more or less package, all right? I mean, I don't want to compare the two, but he's got it all. Like, let's be very honest. He's got speed, dribbling, decision making. We've seen some good maturity from him, shooting, assisting, played at every game. You could say, for example, Mertens, or you could say Insigne had that, which is true, but I don't think they've ever had a season where the impact of those events are, as big as Kvara's this season. I mean, there's a reason why we're playing for the title, right, this season. So, yeah. Maseds, Napoli, I have a difficult question for you. Where would you play Maradona in this team? Lol. I would definitely play him. Guys, I mean, there's always room for Maradona. I would play him probably instead of Politano. I know Politano and Maradona is a very tight decision right there, but I'd put Maradona. No, you know what? I think Politano can keep a spot. Yeah, Politano can keep a spot ahead of Maradona. Yeah. No, guys, I'm changing my mind, because I think I would put him instead of Zielinski. I'd put him a bit further back, and actually, yeah, maybe from that position, maybe from the Zielinski position, it's more similar to like a number 10 kind of area where he can, from the middle, be creative. I just worry that he'd be too close to Kvara and they'd be running into each other's feet. That's why I said Politano for the first time, but that's maybe just too much on the right. So it would be, okay, I think we would have to maybe change formation to put Maradona in this team. Maybe, because I think putting him all the way wide to where Politano is a bit of a waste. So we might have to do a what would we do? Yeah, we might have to do a 4-3-2-1, but then we'd lose a lot of the width that we have with wingers, right? Because we'll have like 2 number 10. No, man. Obviously he would. Let's go. Let's see some. Actually, this is a good question. Let's see. You guys are liking that in the comments. Let's see what you guys are saying. You guys are saying 4-1-4-1, a 4-2-3-1. Yeah, a 4-2-3-1 is nice. 4-2-3-1 is nice. I think I would go for that one. Anyways, let's go to some previous comments, guys. Let me read them all out, and let's see what you guys are saying. Too bad for Simeone, says Anthony G. He has such a great attitude, knowing he probably has earned more playing time. And he never complains. Really nice to have players like that on the team. Just a genuine guy. Yeah, I love Simeone, because he, like, in theory, right? If you, it is better. But he doesn't complain, because he knows that over the course of 90 minutes, having Osimhen play is better. Osimhen is higher quality, and maybe, if obviously it makes sense to play Osimhen, but a lot of strikers with a similar track record of Simeone would complain. Regardless of there being Osimhen up top, he would complain, but he doesn't do that, because he just wants to be part of this experience. And Alexander said Chelsea have already bought potential flop Modric on left wing. Yeah, I saw look, I saw Mudryk a few times now, all right, because I was curious. I don't like Chelsea, but I was curious. I was like, let's see what this guy who's worth like 100 million. Let's see what he's actually capable of, because he plays in the same position as Kvara. So I wanted it as a comparison, and I looked at the guy, and I mean, he's got a few good things about him, especially when he's in the final third. But the amount of bad decisions that he has, the amount of times he loses the ball with stupid flicks, it's just you can't compare Mudryk and Kvara. Mudryk is an amateur in comparison. Kvara has got, see, what people don't understand about Kvara is that he's also got that decision making capability. You know, he's mature. He knows when to dribble. He knows when to pass it. He doesn't lose the ball in his own half, for example. He never tries anything fancy. Mudryk was doing like flicks in his own half. I was like, dude, what are you doing? So yeah, completely worlds apart. Anthony Navarro's in the house. By the way, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I still have a bit of a like nasal kind of voice. It's been like 2 weeks, right, since I last had to skip the game. It still hasn't gone away. Anyways, so apologies. I'm saying that not just to talk about myself. I'm saying that because I want to apologize if my voice sounds a little weird still. Anyways, Anthony says, hey guys, won't be on the live today. Praying Osimhen just took a knock, I think so. And nothing serious. Fantastic goals by Kvara and Osimhen. Simeone got robbed. Love this team. Scudetto incoming. And he says, Osimhen consistency with world-class goals in Kvara with world-class play. Osimhen MVP, Kvara Ballon d'Or. I like that. Because let's be honest, it's gonna have to be between him or Osimhen, the Ballon d'Or. You know, it has to be one of these two. Bad boy, sorry, I just saw your donation, man. Thank you so much for your $5.99 donation. Says Simeone can't score the goals Victor scores. With Victor, you just need to spam crosses and he'll do the rest. Simeone can't score those. You need Osimhen. Yeah, you're right. They are different goals. Simeone, he's the type of guy that needs the ball inside of the box, right? Whether it's a cross or whether it's a pass played to his feet, and we saw that against Roma, but he needs to play inside the box to be dangerous, to score a goal. Osimhen, you can give him the ball potentially at the half field, and he can take it, drag defenders along with him for 50 meters, and then, you know, outrun them and score. You know, he creates his own goals much more. So that's where he's more useful. So yeah, I agree with Bad Boy. But it's, you know, if Simeone there instead of Osimhen, you would probably get a goal from him as well. Let's see some more comments, guys. Thank you, by the way, for the 100 plus likes. I hope the stream isn't lagging, guys, by the way. Anyways, let's see. A few people are saying that we needed some subs earlier. Fox Drop says we needed some subs earlier when we've got a Champions League game and we're 2-0 up. I do agree. I mean, I think it's one thing to not underestimate your opponent and to field a strong team. I'm totally for that. Good job, Spalletti, for not underestimating Sassuolo. And why would you underestimate Sassuolo? They beat Milan 5-1. But at the same time, you have to realize at the 75th minute, you got to start taking more people off. You can't be playing Osimhen, up until the 90th, because if he gets a knock, it's a bit of an issue. But it does seem like Spalletti likes to preserve Kvara more than Osimhen, and I think that's just because I think Osimhen is just a better athlete than most football players. So he can probably do 90 minutes non-stop all season, every game. Osimhen's got that in him. Other players need a bit more of a rest. It can sometimes feel like he's not resting Osimhen enough, but I just think he's a great athlete. Anyways, the poll is showing that 62% of you prefer Kvara's goal, and I would agree. Kvara's goal was special. Went past two players, then dribbled the third one, shot outside the box, in between the legs. Are you kidding me, man? How's that even possible? Let's see some more comments, guys. And we've got more than 110 likes, which means that we are definitely going to do the player ratings and the match analysis. So thank you guys for that. Let's not underestimate Eintracht. They have amazing fans and atmosphere, and team is also playing with a lot of heart. And by the way, everyone said Mudryk was better than Kvara. What a flop, says Mateus David. So, guys, for the Frankfurt game, I'm going to try to get a Frankfurt fan to tell us a little bit more about the team. I'm hoping to record that on Sunday, which means I'm hoping to release that either Sunday itself or Monday. Make sure you check out that video. If you've got any specific questions about Frankfurt, about Eintracht Frankfurt that you want me to ask, put that down in the chat right now and I'll try into the interview. So yeah, Lewis C says though, Eintracht is crap right now. I hope they don't park the bus and ends 0-0, but even a 0-1 in favor of Napoli is a good score. I think German teams don't tend to park the bus, but it could happen. And I mean, we kind of saw Dortmund do that against Chelsea, which surprised me because especially because they were at home, right? So will Eintracht Frankfurt, they will be at home. And I was just very curious as to, how Dortmund just allowed Chelsea to have most of the ball at home. So, usually German teams are known to be less pragmatic than that and just, go out and play football. So yeah, I was surprised. In my opinion, there's nothing to be scared of because even if we lose, we still have a chance of winning and we are on form. So striking bin. Well, I hope we don't lose. Matt said, my dad is 90 years old. He's also got liver problems, and I swear to God, he still sounds like a kid when he talks about Napoli to me. He's more excited than me. Masked man, that's the beauty of football, man. That's the beauty of football and of Napoli, and I hope things go well. Super Alexandre says, last 2 games Frankfurt was horrible in defense. With spaces like that, Napoli should crash them. Kolo Muani is dangerous. Yeah, I mean, from what I know about Frankfurt, about Eintracht or Frankfurt or whatever, is that last year they were good. Obviously, they won the Europa League, but their most, let's say, their best player went to Juve. Right? And then they got this guy, Kolo Muani, who people were not even sure he was going to start for Eintracht. And he ends up, especially after the World Cup, he ends up being like super good. At least he was in January. Now, maybe in the last 2 games, Frankfurt didn't play so well. I'm not sure if he scored or not. But, I mean, he was playing really well after the World Cup. So, yeah. Okay, right. Let's go into the match analysis, guys, because I know it's Friday night. You guys or Friday evening. You guys wanna get ready to do whatever, and so you want me to hurry up. Well, I'm gonna take my time, all right, because this is important. Right. Let's go with the match analysis. But wait, something popped up on my screen. Oh, Lewis. Damn, man, thank you for the $19.99 donation. Guys, you're too kind. Lewis, thank you. Thanks for everything, bro. Forza Napoli. Forza Napoli, guys. Thank you, guys. That's really nice of you. And I like the sticker. I didn't know you could put a sticker on your, and I like that it's someone. Is that a Doge? Anyways, he's wearing blue and he has a trophy. So I wonder what that means. Oh, let's see. Why is it starting there? Is that in order? Yeah, okay. I don't know why this image is there, because usually I go chronologically. So, but whatever. We can start here. We can start on the 25th minute, no problem. Ignore the scoreline. Ignore the timestamp. Anyways, what I wanted to highlight in this picture, right, is the ball recovery that Napoli has. I mean, in this moment in time, we take the ball off. I think it's Fratesi in Sassuolo who had the ball. And we take the ball off, and there were 4 Napoli players that were pressing him. And as soon as one of us got the ball, I can't remember if it was Rahmani or Kim, but as soon as they got a touch, there were two other Napoli players in and around the Sassuolo player who could then help out and recover that second ball. Because one thing is getting a tackle across and a tackle in, and then, sometimes we see it, for example, with Napoli, a team will put in a tackle and stop us, but then there's no one to pick up the second ball for that team, and so we still have it, Whereas with Napoli, every time someone makes a tackle, there's a second Napoli player that's able to pick up the ball. In this case, it was Lobotka. So it just shows how we're just a unit, and we'll see that later on as well in other circumstances. I thought Elmas's position today was super interesting. So so Elmas is not on the screen. He's the guy that is coming into the channel that opens up there. But I like how we create space to play in between the lines. So we've got this back four, which, as you guys know, becomes a back three when we attack, and one of the wingers will push up, right? And Sassuolo at this point think that they are, blocking off all the spaces, but actually Napoli is able to identify some really nice channels every time we play. And I might need to get some water. One sec, guys. I'm gonna get some water. All right, we're back. Water's good. Anyways, so we get some channels. We find some channels, and I like Elmas's position because he was kind of like away from the action at times, and you're thinking to yourself, why isn't Elmas helping out Lobotka and Anguissa? And it's because he's kind of, trying to make people forget that he's there. He comes out wide in a position where you can't normally get the ball. And then as soon as that pass from Lobotka is played to Anguissa, and you've got a Sassuolo player that's going to push on Anguissa, that's where that space behind the Sassuolo player opens up, and Elmas gets into that channel. And if Anguissa knows that that's about to happen, and he does because it's a well-oiled team, then he just places that pass in behind the Sassuolo midfield into that area where Elmas will show up, and then Elmas turns around and he's got, Osimhen or whatever to pass the ball to. So, I thought that was a neat play. Anyways, I'm gonna need to have some more water. As I said, guys, this cold that I got or whatever is just not going away. So, yeah. Anyways, let's move on. This one is just to show when we can't make it work centrally, we've always got this option, and this is something that is like just Politano's like signature move now. It's getting the ball from Di Lorenzo and then first time releasing it to Osimhen. We scored a few goals already with this, and it's just an interesting thing that we have now. It's like a tool that we have whenever we can't make it work down the center. We've got Politano that can release first time Osimhen, and this only works when you have an inverted winger. So if you're a left footer on the right, or if you're a right footer on the left, if you put Lozano here, he's not able to make this pass because Lozano is right footed, right? So Lozano's pass would have to kind of curl around the other side. So when we decide whether we're going to play with Politano or Lozano, it's these sort of details as well that we need to consider, whether we want to play this type of pass or a different type of pass, right? I'm not saying one is better. I'm just saying there might be moments in a game or there might be oppositions where it's better to have one thing over the other. Because oftentimes we compare Politano and Lozano, and maybe we don't talk enough about the details of what changes between the two of them. So I just wanted to point that out here. Louis C says, I was 5 months when Napoli won the last Scudetto. Well, technically you lived it. So that's better than some of us. Mike Xtad, Thank you, man, for the $2. Really, really appreciate it. Says, how did your exams go? Is Osimhen okay? Do we know? So, most importantly, Osimhen, I think, is okay. I mean, I think it's just a knock. My exams, so you will recall that last Sunday I had a live stream, and I had a finance exam the next morning, like 8 a.m. or whatever, and I finished the live at like past midnight. And I was saying in the live, this no finance, right? I'm not stupid. But you know, after the exam, I thought I did well, and someone asked me, "What'd you write for question 3?" I said, "What do you mean question 3? There were only 2 questions." I said, "No, what did you write for question 3?" I was like, "Nah, you're." And then I asked other people, and apparently there was a question 3. So, I mean, I did well, I think, for questions 1 and 2, but question 3, man, don't even know what that was. Didn't read it. Didn't know it was there. It's not my fault. So I think it can't have gone well, even though, you know, whatever. Let's not talk about my exams. And then the other ones went okay. Anyways, let's move on. Let's talk about something nicer. Let's talk about football. Not talk about how I didn't see a question in the exam. And it was something I could have answered. Anyways, let's move on. Let's go to what really matters, which is Kvara's goal. Let's go to Kvara's goal, right? Which is insane because he has this burst of acceleration, all right, where he's waiting for this ball to come, right? He's waiting for it. It bounces, little touch, brings it past the Sassuolo players, and then just accelerates. And then you've got this wild tackle that is coming in from his right. He anticipates it, shifts the ball to the left. I mean, think about when we think about dribbling and decision making, right? So Kvara, we all know, is right-footed, right? And most people will dribble with their right foot if they're right-footed. But if a tackle is coming in from your right and you're dribbling with your right foot, you're not putting your body in between you and the ball. And if you guys remember, if you guys ever played football, what's the one thing that maybe a coach tells you to do? How to protect the ball. To put your body in between the player and the ball. That also means that when you dribble, if a player's coming in from the right, you should be dribbling with your left foot. Because it just makes it that much harder for the guy to get it. And if you look at this image, that's exactly what Kvara is doing. He knows someone's coming in from the right, so at this point, he makes a touch with his left foot. Because if this tackle is timed properly, at best, he's going to first catch Kvara and then the ball. Which means worst case scenario, you get a foul. And best case scenario, he mistimes it or you manage to dribble past and, you know, you continue on. But if he had taken this touch with his right foot, then it would have been totally different. Then it's a bit more 50-50. So when we talk about how valuable is a player, you know, it's about these little things. It's about technique. And by technique, it's this, right? Technique is not always hitting the ball in the top corner. Technique is also deciding, am I going to take a touch with my left foot or my right foot in moments like these when you don't have time to think. And you can't teach this, guys. I mean, you can, but I mean, you know, it comes natural to Kvara, which is crazy. So yeah. They're asking me if my exams are in Spanish or English. No, it's in English. But yeah, let's see. Lewis says, in the last 5-6 years, these type of games, we would have lost them, but now it's reliable wins, comfortable 2-0, and not even going 100%. I agree. I think in the second half, we weren't pushing too hard. It seemed like the Cremonese win as well. We have a chance for the champions. I'm putting 200 on Napoli to win the Champions League. I think realistically we're third favorites. I mean, I still see more experienced teams like Bayern and Real Madrid being favorites. You could maybe say even Man City. Not because they're better than us. They're not. but just the experience. They've been there, they've done that. To some extent, that could help, right? So, you know, I still put us as third or fourth, but third or fourth is a good position to be in. It's a good position to be in, and it doesn't mean we have 0% chance. It means we have maybe like a 10-15%, right? And then the other three have maybe 20-25 each, and then, you know, the other teams are like 1%. I think it's going to be one of these four for sure. For sure it's going to be one of these four. I can't see Inter, Milan, Spurs, Dortmund. Like, I don't see these guys winning it. It's going to be one of us four. There were some mistakes in defense, though. We were lucky. It would be unacceptable with Eintracht. Yeah, maybe there were some mistakes, but at the same time, you know, I also think that yes, that we definitely have had some mistakes, but I also think for we're gonna be that much more concentrated, and it's gonna be okay. I hope, at least. Anyways, let's get to you know, let's finish off this Kvara move. Even here, right, when he chooses when to shoot, he had the chance the first time, the second time, and every time he kept taking an extra touch, because he knew what he wanted to do. He knew that he wanted to get the ball in between the legs of the defender, you know, use the defender as a shield so that the goalkeeper wouldn't be able to see where the ball is going. And until he found the right window, he didn't release, which is very different from maybe some other players that just, you know, get too excited. They feel like they're in the right spot. They just kick it without thinking. Again, Kvara just has it in him. It's crazy. So yeah, that was the first goal. I think it was the best goal. I think it was the best goal, to be honest. And most of you seem to think that way as well. But let's get to Osimhen's performance a little bit while I get some water. 1 sec. All right. So, Osimhen's performance. Now, you might think, why am I not showing Osimhen's goal yet? Because what Osimhen brings to the table, right, is something much more. Look at this counterattack from Sassuolo. You know, Osimhen is the third Napoli player, you know, in there. You've got Lobotka and Elmas as the furthest back, because this is from a corner, I think. And then you've got Osimhen sprinting, because he knows he's fast, and he's putting his service to the team. And that's what you want from players, right? And you know, we're already winning. He doesn't have to prove himself to anybody, but he's just going at it 100%. And we saw it from Lozano last week. We see it from Osimhen now. Like, guys, the fact that the strikers are putting in this kind of effort says a lot about this team. Everybody is fighting for their teammate. And yeah, so I wanted to highlight this, and then I also wanted to highlight how Osimhen, and I saw this tweet today, right? I think it was a Twitter page called Eurofoot, and they released a 2-minute video, more or less, of Thierry Henry, ex-Arsenal striker, you guys obviously know, speaking about what Arsene Wenger, his coach, told him to do. And he was like, listen, Thierry, you can't always expect to make the same run and always get the pass that you want, because there's going to be one player that's going to be able to pass it to you that way, and there's going to be another player that, you know, he works a little different. Maybe he likes to have a 1-2 with you instead of giving you a long pass or this or that or whatever. And I think we see that from Osimhen this year, that depending on who has the ball, he's going to change his run. He's going to change his movement. Like, if Politano has the ball, he knows he needs to make that run first time. If, Kvara has the ball, maybe he knows that Kvara wants a 1-2. So, yeah, I just really like how he's playing this year, and I just wanted to, you know, repeat that, because when I saw that video of Thierry Henry speaking, and he was talking about how Haaland is not doing that. He was saying Haaland is always making the same runs, but, you know, and I commented that maybe that was Osimhen last year, but this year he's very different. Anyways, this was a chance that he had when he hit the post. So, look, the defender here should have gotten the ball. But I think they get so scared when they see Osimhen. They just they just lose concentration or something like that. I don't know what happens, but the defender completely misses the ball. Osimhen meanwhile grabs it. Look what happens, man. He does a little shimmy to his left, and the Sassuolo player just broken ankles. Look at him. He's falling to the ground, and Osimhen takes it with his left foot and hits the post. And to be honest, this kind of surprised me. We don't see Osimhen try with his left foot too much. I mean, unless obviously it's like a very clear reason to do it, but I would have assumed that Osimhen would have tried to keep it on his right foot, and maybe that's what the defense and hit the post, and this could have been a very nice goal from Osimhen. But yeah, it goes back to what we were saying before about Osimhen creating his own chances. I mean, this was a hoofed ball out of nowhere, and he managed to do that. Whereas maybe Simeone, he needs the ball in the box, or at least within 1 or 2 meters of the box to be effective. And then we get to the goal. So again, we've got so many options if playing through the middle doesn't work, because we can play through the middle, we can then go on the side with Politano. We've even got the option of Kim taking the ball and running by himself down the middle. We've seen that at times. And then we've got this other option of just hoofing it up to Osimhen. And so that's, Napoli is so unpredictable. And look at that. He's got 2 players with him. He does extremely well to isolate himself so that he's not playing 2 against 1. And this is, is so smart from Osimhen. I wish I could show you the video of him making the run, but I can't. But essentially what he does is that he makes it so that it's a 1v1 situation instead of a 1v2. And then obviously here, I mean, it's ridiculous that he even thought of scoring from here. I mean, what is he even doing, man? What is this? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. By the way, let me go back to some of the chat. Mike, man, thank you again for another donation. I appreciate you. He says, I'm a big Bundesliga fan. I was like 1BL fan. I don't know what that is. But yeah, Bundesliga fan. Frankfurt are exhausted too and will focus on league. Great team and club, but not depth. I saw them and Napoli play in October. Haha. Oh, nice. Okay. So possibly that's true, because I think Frankfurt, and we'll talk about this more in the Frankfurt build-up video. I think Frankfurt have a chance to qualify for the Champions League next season, but obviously, them doing it through the Champions League is going to be impossible for them. So they're going to focus on trying to do that through the league. So I do agree with you. And interesting about the whole depth situation. Napoli Nation TV, thank you, man, for the $18 donation, for the 18 points lead, man. You're too nice, guys. You're sleeping on Napoli Nation TV. All right, go. After this video's done, guys, go check out Napoli Nation TV, because they're killing it on YouTube. I think you guys released a new video. Was it yesterday? Anyways, it's our friend Daniel Bowen. He's a legend, all right? So check him out. Dom, are we all dreaming? Our duo are looking like one of the best in this generation. 18 points. Napoli getting very warm. Everywhere else in Italia, freezing. Yeah, man, it's crazy, Here we are about to approach spring, and there's still minus 18. What's going on? What's going on down there? Or up there? Mass said, Osimhen's first touch, ball control, and dribbling has improved dramatically this year. In the first couple of years, the ball would ping-pong around him. That's so true. This is how Juventus dominated for 10 years. Defenders or teams in general start fearing you and lose confidence. Yeah. Eric Lamela says, I think Osimhen has a technique of confusing defenders when he wants to receive the ball from the air. It might do. I mean, at the end of the day, defenders don't know whether, to keep an eye on him, the ball, and it just creates chaos. By the way, I'm intrigued to hear Daniel's opinion on the atmosphere. I think, Daniel, if you're still listening, I think you were at the game, right? At Reggio Emilia. So, man, maybe you could give us one comment, one very quick word about the atmosphere. But I'm sure, guys, he will be talking about that in his videos. So yeah, you get a bit more of the feel of the game of the atmosphere when he speaks about the game, which is very nice. Paul Derikan says Osimhen's mentality and toughness have improved the most. No longer goes down automatically, expecting a call and pounding the ground when he doesn't. That's true. Also, I mean, look, it's obviously also very easy to remain calmer when you're 18 points clear in the table, right? And like the context is completely different compared to last year. But it's true. We have seen a bit more of a calm version of Osimhen, and maybe his head's just more in the game, on his football. Whereas maybe in the first year, especially, he was picking up fights with every defender, this and that, and it's just hard to remain concentrated, and it's hard to then, when that half chance comes to you, when you least expect it, it's hard to be ready if your mind is still thinking about, oh, but this guy pulled my shirt, this and that. Like Osimhen nowadays just doesn't care anymore. He's so focused on what he has to do in the game. Let's see. Sport TV 24, Timar, again in the house, man. Always present. Osimhen, the new Drogba. Yeah, dude. Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Because Drogba's physique was a bit different, right? Drogba had a bit more of a strong physique, and I don't think he was as quick as Osimhen. But so there's some things that are like a bit more okay. Like Drogba was better here, and Osimhen is better there. I think they're different players. I think Osimhen has the potential to do just as well as Drogba in his career. Having said that, Drogba, I think, I don't know if this is a rumor or not, but didn't Drogba like literally stop Ivory Coast from getting into a civil war at one point? Is that a thing? Is that a real thing? Can someone fact check me on that one? Because I mean, if you stop your country from entering a civil war, then yeah, I mean, tough to beat that. Tough to beat that. But yeah, I guess what I want to say is maybe Osimhen, I think, to be like a great of the sport, not just Napoli, right? We're talking about more grand than that. He needs to do something quite special with Nigeria. I feel like he needs to take them firstly to the World Cup, because they missed out this time. He needs to take them to the World Cup. And then once he's at the World Cup, I think he's gotta at least leave the group. And then we can start seeing like, okay, wow, even back home, Osimhen means something, because I think right now, he's great for us, but I think we like him more than they do back in Nigeria, because he's doing more for Napoli than he's done for the Nigerian national team. So, and I think maybe, yeah, it would help if he also does good things with Nigeria, and then, you've got like 200 million people there. So that will help his image a lot. So, yeah. Okay, so Maximus is saying Drogba helped stop the civil war. So maybe it had already started and he helped stop it, something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. Also, I think he had a very nice shot from distance. I remember his goal against Arsenal in the FA Cup in like 2012 or something like that was mad. Here's the thing about Drogba. And I didn't like him because I told you I don't like Chelsea. I was a Fernando Torres fan back in the day. That was my striker in the Premier League, obviously. And back in those days, obviously, I had the Napoli strikers, Cavani, Dennis, and all these guys that I liked. But in the Premier League, Fernando Torres. And anyways, Drogba, so I didn't like Drogba. But what he had was that he was a big game player. Very big game player, guys. Every time there was a final, he would score, which is super important. And, Osimhen, only this year has he started to really, show up in big games. For the first 2 seasons, not really. right? A bit absent in the first games, in the first big games that he had. This year, it's a bit better. Well, actually, a lot better this year. Let's see in the Champions League if now in the elimination rounds, if he'll keep that up. Napoli Nation says, "Hope you feel better, bro." Yeah, getting there, man, getting there. I don't know why, but it's, this cold thing won't go away. Anyways, Napoli Nation TV says, "I wasn't at the Mappe. I was at the Maradona." Yeah, man. As I said, dude, I think you didn't catch the start because obviously you're live, man. You're traveling, following the team. But I started the live saying that for me the best thing about it today was the Napoli fans that showed up. It was incredible. It did feel like we were playing at home. Louis C says the Fenomeno Ronaldo was the best striker ever. Just so many injuries, but overall best one. Yeah, I think it's a shame those injuries happened. Felix Peter says Osimhen won the Under-17 World Cup for Nigeria as the highest goal scorer and the MVP. I know that, man. I know he had like between 15 and 17 goals in that tournament, which is great. But the Under-17 World Cup, it just isn't enough. It just isn't enough, right? We're talking about like if you win the Under-17 World Cup and then you don't bring your team to the actual World Cup later on in your career, you failed as a national, player, right? So I think people are still waiting for Osimhen to do things on the international stage, but he's getting there, right? He's getting there. He's only 24, and the team that he has is unfortunately what it is, right? There's not that many world-class players around him. There's a few good ones for sure, but I would say overall it's maybe only the fourth or fifth best team in Africa. Anyways, let's move on. Another Osimhen chance, but look at this outside of the foot pass by Kvara to Osimhen. That was beautiful. I would just want to say how every time there's a ball recovery, Lobotka's there. It's crazy. Every time. This time he recovers the ball super high up the field. And this is not something that Napoli was doing so much in the first half, especially. In Sassuolo's first third, recover the ball, immediately pass it to Kvara. It's what we were talking about before, right? Napoli put in a tackle, and there's immediately someone that can then take the ball and transition extremely fast. So Kvara takes the ball, passes it to Elmas, and Elmas just miscontrols it. It should have been a goal here. Really expected Elmas to put this one home. Then Sassuolo could have had a goal, but I think it was rightly called for offside because De Frel, you can see here, is in an offside position, comes back onside, trips Oliveira, and even though he doesn't touch the ball, he trips Oliveira, so, he's actively involved in the play. So that's, for me, a very clear decision, the right one. And in the second half, there's a whole bunch of chances that we waste. This one, again, a ball recovery. Look who's there. It's Lobotka again. Whenever there's a ball recovery. And look at how close 3 Napoli players are to the Sassuolo player that lost the ball. Those 3 that are in a line all next to each other. And then you've even got Anguissa. So you've got 4 Napoli players and 1 Sassuolo player, which is kind of hidden by one of the Napoli players. But, that's what I mean. Like, you take the ball, and then immediately you've got 2 or 3 different options, and you can transition super quickly. The defense doesn't have time to close any gaps. Kvara plays it first time to Osimhen, and Osimhen, bro, what are you doing here? Bruh. It's no bueno. I think he panicked a little bit there. I think he thought that Consigli was going to come out faster. Instead, Consigli kind of stayed on his line. And Osimhen, I believe, had the opportunity to just take that extra breath to catch up with the ball or to control it even. If you control it there, right, instead of shooting, if you just bring it across, one or two things happen. Either you get fouled by the defender, or at that point, the goalkeeper is forced to come out further, and you can then maybe, try to take it around him. I mean, you've got the speed for it. So I think he rushed it a little bit there, which is a shame. And then here, he had another chance. And again, Lobo at the center of everything. Guys, he was all over the place today. I think one of his best performances, honestly. In terms of, being present, I think he was great. Rahmani through the channel in the middle, and immediately Lobotka to Osimhen, who makes a great run. Osimhen's runs are fantastic, by the way, and he's improved also by not being so offside, which he was a lot last season, right? And then in the first season, this time not so much, which is good. But Lobotka places a nice through ball for him, and Osimhen, it's a good strike, and the keeper makes a good save. And then we get to the offside goal. I mean, Lozano here is miles offside. But anyways, I just want to show it that it's a really nice cross and a very nice header from Simeone, which, deserved the goal, in my opinion. And here, ladies and gentlemen, are the player ratings. And no, it's not a typo. Spalletti gets a 1,000 today, because it's his 1,000th game? How do you say 1,000th? Yeah, whatever. He has played 1,000 games. He has coached 1,000 games. So, yeah. Guys, how do you say 1,000th? Whatever. Yeah. Game number 1,000 for Spalletti. So, yeah, that's why he gets 1,000. He deserves it. Masked says, thoughts on Serie A at Juventus Stadium? Thoughts of winning Serie A at Juventus Stadium at Napoli talk? I don't think that's going to happen, man. It's way too soon. I think it's going to be 2 games too soon for that. Antonio Tonti, will you do a preview of Tuesday's game? Yes, I am. I've got it scheduled. I've got a Frankfurt fan. 12 o'clock on Sunday. We're meeting up. We're recording. If things go according to plan, then yes. Then unfortunately not. So I can't promise, but the intention is there. It really is. LKLDL707 says injuries were cause of his crazy lifestyle, not working out as he should have. Otherwise, what a talent, all natural. Speaking about Ronaldo il fenomeno. Let's see. Would you say Lobo is the spine of this team? Maximus 1318. Yeah. 100%. He is, I don't know if it's the most valuable player, but how can I say this? If Osimhen isn't playing, I don't panic, because I trust Simeone. If Kvara isn't playing, I don't panic, because I trust Elmas to step in. If Lobo isn't playing, who do I trust? Who would you trust? Would you trust Demme, who hasn't seen game time, for proper game time, because 5 minutes don't count? Would you trust Demme, who hasn't seen game time for over a year? Maybe more than that. Who could you play in that position? Ndombele, would you trust Ndombele in a Champions League semi-final? Maybe, but I don't know. I feel like the drop-off in, here's the thing. Osimhen and Kvara have a potential to give you a 10 out of 10 performance, right? But Simeone guarantees you at least an 8, right? Like, his minimum is good. Elmas could also guarantee you at least an 8. If you put Demme or Ndombele, you might get a 6 out of them in that game. You might. So the drop-off, like the minimum level, is just, quite low. Then, okay, they could have a great game, right? Anybody could have a great game, but the risk is there that the drop-off is too much. It's in that position. Whereas, for example, Anguissa is also important. and he could be replaced by Ndombele. But I feel like Ndombele could replace Anguissa better in that, wider midfield role than he could Lobotka in that central role. So that's my opinion. So I do think Lobotka is the most valuable for how this team plays. Not that he's the best player, but he's the most valuable. TT says Lobo did well in defense today. Yeah, he did. He recovered so many balls, man. Di Lorenzo was bang average today in defense, conceded so many crosses from his flank, and Lauriente got the better of him most of the time. Let's say that Di Lorenzo today maybe struggled a little bit more. I still rewarded the defense quite highly in my player ratings. Here's the thing, guys. The player ratings are, they take into account individual performances and also, to some extent, the result of the game, right? So the fact that you get a clean sheet, for me, bumps up the defense by even a point, right? Because let's be honest, they probably deserve individually a 6.5, right? I don't think they did anything too crazy, but it's the group itself managed to keep a clean sheet, so you get that extra point. I don't know if there's no science behind these player ratings, right? I mean, you could say they're BS, but for me, I like to reward a defense that keeps a clean sheet. So that's where, and you can't just reward one player for it. So I bump everybody up. I thought, the two midfielders alongside Lobotka had a decent game, nothing special. In fact, maybe I thought Elmas wasted a big opportunity, but they put in a good shift. So, they get a nice score as well. And a lot of this is also you have to think that this team is 15 points. They went into this game 15 points ahead. For me, the fact that they even showed up and put in such a good performance with effort, for me, that's already an extra half a point. Because let's face it, man, 9 times out of 10, a team like this with 15 points lead and has a Champions League game on the week, in the midweek coming soon, a lot of these players would maybe play at 60-70% and maybe risk losing this game. And then if you lose this game, morale goes down and you then compromise the next one. The fact that they know not to do that and keep, the morale high and the ball to keep rolling, I think that shows maturity, and that also gets factored into this player rating. So, maybe a performance that normally would deserve a 7 in this context gets a 7.5. So there's a lot of variables involved, and that's for the midfielders and the defenders as well, because it's easy to maybe lose concentration, especially defensively in moments like these. The lowest rating I gave was Zielinski. I didn't think he came on very well. Got a yellow card. I never like it when a player comes on as a substitute and the game is kind of already done, you're 2 or 3-0, and then you get a yellow card. That for me is one of my biggest, oh my God, man. It's one of the things I hate the most that a player can do. You're winning 2-0 or 3-0 or whatever the case may be. You come on and you get a yellow card. Dude, what are you doing, man? You're supposed to be helping the team, not, compromising us potentially. It's something that always makes you lose a bit of a point. But everybody else, I think, came on. They did well. I gave a little bit more to Simeone because he did put the ball in the back of the net, and he wasn't offside. It was Lozano, so I wanted to reward him slightly there. Osimhen gets an 8. I mean, great goal, great play in the first half, but maybe minus a point from... He could have gotten a 9 today. 9.5, even a 10 if he put away all his chances. But he was so wasteful in the second half that I felt like I had to cap him at an 8. Lobotka gets a 9 because he was everywhere today, defensively, attacking, all over the place. 9, one of his best performances ever, I think. And Kvara gets a 9.5 because that goal, I don't think he did too much in terms of like proper output after that goal. Like it wasn't, it's not like the second goal came through him but that goal by itself, that put him at a 9. And then he did have some moments where he was dribbling past players and creating a lot of dangerous-ish opportunities in and around the box, and just created chaos in the game. And it's just nice, man. It's just nice to turn on the television or whatever, or my laptop in my case, turn it on, watch him play, and just, wow, this is nice. This is art, and there's a reason why he gets called Kvaratskhelia, because you're literally watching an artist at work, which is really nice. So let's see what you guys think. TT says, fair enough, Dom. Yeah. I mean, look, I think I could be a little bit harsher on some players. I do tend to get carried away by emotions a little bit on this. Like I see that these guys are winning again and again, a clean sheet, and I'm just like, yeah, whatever, 7.5. Whereas maybe I should be more like not contextualizing their performance and just literally looking at what they're doing in the 90 minutes instead of getting carried away by the enthusiasm. But yeah. Maximus says, really want Lauriente in that Napoli kit. Yeah, he's good. They talk about him and Frattesi possible to Napoli. I'm happy with either one, but Lauriente more so. I'm not a big fan of Frattesi, to be honest. I think it's much more interesting him, the other guy. The one I want to see in there's been a few players that have intrigued me. You guys are gonna think I'm joking here, but the Cremonese right wing, all right, I forget his name. God, what's his name? But anyways, the right winger for Cremonese wasn't bad, and I'm just thinking, maybe instead of Politano or Lozano, he could be interesting. And I know you guys are thinking, Dom, come on, this team needs to buy, famous people, not a guy from a team bottom of the table. But trust me, man, in the right system, this guy's gonna cook. All right, so that Cremonese guy. All right, and then if we want to talk about established players, I love Lookman from Atalanta, but who are you gonna? You can't buy him and put him on the bench. We already have so much talent on the bench, so yeah. So that's unlikely to happen. So yeah. Eric Lamela with a great question says, should Spalletti play Elmas instead of Zielu against Frankfurt? Wow. Okay, you know what? Let me close the previous poll, which got a lot of votes and people chose Kvara. Let me start a new one, and I'm gonna ask that question: should Elmas start ahead of Zielinski on Tuesday? And let me ask that question, and let's see what you guys think. All right, the poll is live, so you guys start voting. 3 votes came in, all for Elmas. 7. Oh no, Zielinski now. Oh, Elmas now. Wow, this is. I don't know if you guys are watching that. I don't know if from your side you can watch the thing go back and forth between the different. I don't know how it looks like on your side, but this is going back and forth between Elmas and Zielinski. It's a great race, but out of the ones voting so far, Zielinski has a bit of an advantage. So maybe you guys start. Oh, now it's 50-50. 50. Oh, wow, this is great. This is a great poll. This is really splitting the Napoli fan base, this poll. So yeah, maybe if let's get 1 or 2 opinions on this in the chat. All right, if someone feels very strongly about why Elmas or why Zielinski, put it down in the chat. In the meantime, I'm going to read a few comments. Whale Muse says, Osimhen's movement off the ball made Kvara's goal possible. It literally took 2 of their defenders with him and created space for Kvara. Yeah, that's true. And we did mention it. We did mention it. Where was it? We had it. Whoa, where was it? We had it here. See, in my little sketch, I wanted to point out that Osimhen made a great run to give Kvara some space, and then you can see it when Kvara takes the shot that Osimhen dragged two defenders away, which is, you're right. You're right. I still think that from what he did in that first half, the guy was on a solid 9 out of 10 performance, right? And then in the second half, I think he was a little bit wasteful, also relative to the other players. So I wanted to really emphasize Lobotka and Kvara, because I think this Kvara goal is absurd. But yeah, let's see some comments about this whole Elma Zielinski. I'm surprised, man, that Zielinski is winning now. But it looked like Elmas was about to start. I'm gonna get some water and then read your justifications. I feel like I never drank before water in a live, like with me doing this for like 2 years, and now today I'm just drinking the whole water bottle. Once you do something once, then that's it. Broke the ice. Now I'm just comfortable drinking water in front of you guys. Why do I say these stupid things? Anyways, but let's see. TT says, personally, I love Elmas's impact off the bench. His energy against tired legs is dangerous. That's true. I think Elmas, yeah, TT's got a really good point. Like a really good point, actually, as he always does. Here's the thing. If we're talking about who's going to give me the most impact off the bench, it's going to be Elmas, because Zielinski is not the type of player that changes a game when he comes on as a substitute. We've never seen that from Zielinski, because Zielinski is a bit of a slow burner in the game, right? Like he needs that 1 hour to really kick in, right? Whereas Elmas is dynamite. Elmas is just explosion of energy, whereas Zielinski not so much. And Zielinski, I think he suffers starting from the bench, I think it gives him a little bit of a knock to his confidence, whereas Elmas maybe takes that not as demotivation, but as motivation to prove them wrong, right? So maybe off the bench, he's slightly better. So yeah, we'll see. But I think TT has convinced me about this whole thing. But let's see what other people are saying. Bobo Schnack says Zielinski has been integral to the title push in linking midfield to attack because he's far more of a goal threat than Lobotka. All credit to Lobo. Yes, Zielinski has been integral. Let's not underestimate Zielinski's contribution at all. But this is more about not what has been done over the season, but about ignore the past season. What are you doing in 3 days or in 4 days, right? So you have to really look at current form. Unless you're one of those people that says, look, I know that this is this player's current form, but I truly believe that, come this game, for whatever reason, maybe because it's the big stage, maybe for whatever reason, in this game he's going to do well. And I'll give you an example of someone who did that recently. So, Pioli benched Leao a few games, and then started him in the Champions League game, right? And I think he did a good job. A better example, maybe, is Pep Guardiola benched De Bruyne against Spurs in the Premier League, and they lost that game, and he benched Gundogan and Spurs, and then in the game against Arsenal the other day started both of them, because it's like, okay, I realize De Bruyne is not having a great season, he's not in the best of form, but I believe that in this big game where we decide the title, I believe he's gonna show up, and De Bruyne scores, right? So, and Gundogan was involved in all the goals and all that. So maybe there's some merit to giving more trust to people that have been involved more whenever there's a big game, as opposed to looking at recent form. But different philosophies. Byron says, yes, Dom, on the viewer side, we can watch the poll go up and down. I feel like you're saying that in the most condescending way, which is totally fine because I can be such a boomer with these things. But here's the thing, guys. I go on YouTube, I do my thing on YouTube, but then I don't watch much YouTube, so I don't really know how it looks like from your side, right? And when I look back at my videos, few times that I do, it's not live anymore, right? So I don't know how it looks like for you guys when it's live. I think like literally the only people I watch on YouTube are now Napoli Nation TV. Think they're doing a good job. Rabona TV, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah. Michelangelo says, gonna take Elmas after his performance in the past games. He earned it, I think. So, okay. So, we've got people that want to give more credit to recent performances. Michael Chan says, Dom, would you prefer Napoli win the Champions League or win Serie A with 103 points to set the points record? Look, man, if we could win the Serie A with 72 points, I'd be happy with that. Winning it with 103 would not give me any more satisfaction than winning it with 73. I just want to win it. And winning it would give me 100% happiness that the points tally wouldn't make a difference. Like, it wouldn't elevate it more, right? I don't think, personally. I just want to win it. So if you're giving me that option, no, man, I'd rather win the Champions League and then have lower points. These whole like record things, they're nice, but I wouldn't compromise a Champions League for the sake of a record, right? Like, I don't think that's... But if you were to ask me, right? If you were to ask me, Michael, would you prefer the Champions League or the Serie A title? And I had to choose between one or the other, I would say Serie A. Serie A. And I know some of you guys are going to say like, oh, Dom, what do you mean Serie A? Champions League is so much more prestigious. And it is. It is. But our enemies are in the Serie A. Like, I want to win against Juve. I want to win against Milan. I want to win against Inter, against Lazio, against Bologna. Like, these are the guys that we're fighting against every single week for the past 100 years, right? Both on a football field, and then also more with like, I don't know, like if you have friends that are supporting like Milan or Inter or Juve, you're always talking about your teams, right? And who's better and who's not. But you're very rarely talking to like a PSG fan about, oh yeah, Napoli or PSG. Like, it's just not something that enters the conversation as much as it would when you meet someone who's a fan of an Italian team, right? So like, our rivals, the people we want to be, the people we're gonna have bragging rights over, are in Italy. So I would go for the Scudetto, honestly. So yeah. Byron says, no, Dom, not condescending way for me. No, but it's okay. You can be condescending. I'll let you guys do that, because I can be a bit of a boomer. Payman Dadgar with the £4.99 donation, man. Thank you, man, for this, for your contribution. I'm laughing because I'm seeing, before even reading the comment, my eyes went to the bottom of the comment in caps lock where you say "Esse ne va." And he says, I am late, was celebrating, what a win. I think Zielinski better than Elmas, but next year need to sell Zielinski and Politano. Keep Lozano. E se ne va, la capolista se ne va. So yeah, man, good for you that you were celebrating, man. Nice to see you in the chat as always. I agree that maybe Zielinski needs to be sold next season, not because he's a bad player, not because I don't like him, but for the sake of Elmas. Because here's the thing, right? So we've got like Zielinski, okay? So we've got this player who's about to reach 30, if not maybe already is 30. I'm not sure about that, right? But he has kind of reached his peak. Like, we're not going to get much more improvement out of Zielinski. So I think this year, especially if we win the title, if we do well in the Champions League, he's going to have a lot of people interested in him. And, we can make some big money out of that. Then we have Elmas, if we sell Zielinski, that can slot into that position as a starter. And then we can maybe see like a huge explosion from him next year. And he, for all we know, he might have to give him that opportunity. And Politano, one between Politano and Lozano, I think definitely needs to be sold. We need to sell one of them, keep the other one as a backup, and then we need someone of a higher quality to be starting, right? So yeah. Let me get some water and then a few more comments. Rahmani has been a lot better than expected since coming back from injury. His long ball to Kvara today shows that he has developed into a fully fledged graduate from the school of Koulibaly. I love that comment. Yeah, that long ball is straight out of the Koulibaly textbook. Victory, George says Napoli's already won Serie A. Champions League would be a more preferable adding to Napoli. I mean, obviously, I want the Champions League as well, but the question is more like, if I had to choose one or the other, like if I choose the Champions League, somehow we lose the Serie A. No, I would rather have the Serie A 100%. I mean, it's the one that you're fighting for 38 times a year compared to the Champions League, which is like 10 games, right? So, or maybe a bit more than that, like 12 if you win it, or it can't be an even number. It would have to be an odd number because the final is one game. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13 games. Did I do that correctly? Yeah, 13 games. So, So, I mean, 38 versus 13. No, there's so much more rivalry, and just shared history with the teams in the Serie A. It would, for me, as an Italian, I prefer the Serie A. But I mean, if someone wants to give us a Champions League, then great, we'll take that in as well. Right. So, have we really been doing this for an hour and 25 already? Damn, that's wild. That's wild, guys. Let's go to the stats. Let's see what we. Oh, look at that! Look at that picture. That's cute. Kvara and Osimhen, cuties. I mean, we dominated. 15 shots against 11. 87% passing accuracy, very nice. 61% possession, all very nice. And this is the table. No surprises here. Napoli on, guys, 62 points with 23 games played. I mean, I don't think, now that we're reaching the 60s, right? I mean, there's been seasons where we finished on that in recent years. Like, we finished some seasons not reaching 70 points. And we've still got 15 games to go. This is unreal. Juventus all the way down in 9th. I mean, that fight between Torino, Udinese, Juventus, Monza, and Bologna, Empoli. I'll throw in Lecce in there as well. That fight is crazy. It's mad. What surprised me a lot, guys, this year is Fiorentina. Look at that form by Fiorentina, guys. I mean, not to change the subject and talk about other teams, but I mean, why not? Let's do it. But Fiorentina, what is this? What is this? -6 goal difference. 4 losses in the last 5. Not a win in the last 5. What's going on? literally the worst form out of anyone in the bottom half of the table, except this. What are Fiorentina up to? I need to check this out, guys. Sorry, but I lost to Bologna. They won in the Coppa Italia, so they're in the semis of the Coppa Italia at least. Somehow they managed to draw against Lazio, but they lost to Torino, lost to Roma. That's a bad run of form, guys. In the last 5, they managed to get a few wins before that, right? But wow, the last 5 is bad. I mean, that's a bad position in the league for Fiorentina. Wow. And I guess Fiorentina, they finished what, 7th last year, something like that. I thought they were gonna 7th or 8th. I thought they could have even had a shot at the Champions League at some point last season. You know, there was something really going on with that team last season, and wow, to see them 14th is mad. My prediction, I think I didn't make a full video out of it, but the guys, you know, that follow me since the start of the season will know that in the first game review, I did say that I think Verona are gonna get relegated, and they looked like they were gonna get relegated, but look at that, 2 wins in the last 4 and unbeaten in the last 4. So maybe there's something there. Maybe they're getting a bit of form. So I think it's gonna be tight between Salernitana, Spezia, and Verona. Samp and Cremonese, unfortunately, I think are out of this, unfortunately. And then these are our next games, guys. So we've got Tuesday, Frankfurt. Then we've got some Serie A football, Empoli. Then 2 tough home matches, Lazio and Atalanta. And then another home match against Frankfurt. So we've got, it's very interesting because if you consider today's game as well, we've got 3 away games in a row and then 3 home games in a row, which doesn't always happen. So yeah, very, very interesting. TT obviously says, yeah, Vlahovic leaving was a huge impact. That's true. But even with Vlahovic leaving in the second half of the season last year, they weren't super bad. But I mean, now they're just super bad. Like, and you know, they've got good players. Like they've got some players that I thought could have done much better in their career. Like, for example, we saw Amrabat in the World Cup. He was like the best midfielder in the World Cup. Surely if you're that good of a midfielder, you'd be lifting your team a bit more, no? And then there's other players that I think they just didn't live up to expectations. Like when I first saw Castrovilli play, like, I don't know, 6 years ago or whatever the case may be, I thought, wow, this guy's going to be a great player. And he's just bang average. So yeah, Napoli Nation TV wants 100 points, so we need another 38. That means we need 38 is going to be difficult mathematically, but that means we need 12 wins and 2 draws. 12 wins and 2 draws in the next 15 games, which means we're allowed 1 loss if we want to get 100. So we can do 1 false step, 1 big false step, 2 draws, and then if we win the others, then we're going to get to 100 points. Quick maths. Super Alexandra says, and they still keep comparing us and say that Inter's better than this. If not referee looking the other way when this butcher started crashing legs and Milanese referees looking at each other. Yeah, I agree, guys. Yeah, I'm pretty sure in 2019-20 we finished with 69 points. Yeah, I remembered something like that with being like in the 60s at some point, like very recently, which is, wow. To think that in 3 games we could be passing that level, incredible. Anyways, guys, this is a super long live. Let me see what Spalletti said. All right, let me see. Oh, first off, let's hear from the man himself, Mr. Vittorio Osimhen. I've changed his name. He's now Italian. His name is now Vittorio Osimhen instead of Victor Osimhen. They ask him, how are you? And he says, bene, 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 which means good, good, good. Nessun problema, which means no problem. I think you don't need to know Italian to understand that, so I didn't need to do much translating there. So that's good. Osimhen's good. Everybody can sleep well tonight. You know, everybody can go enjoy their Fridays without worrying about our boy Osimhen. Next up, Elmas, and then we'll get to Spalletti. So Elmas to the zone says the word Scudetto is something that we don't pronounce yet. We still have a lot of games to play, and we look at them one at a time. We're always very concentrated. We're very happy with this win against a big team like Sassuolo. A big team like Sassuolo. That's funny. We go back home with 3 points, and we're extremely happy. Already last year, we were up 2-0, and then it ended 2-2. We saw how difficult it was coming here against Sassuolo, and for this tonight, we did something a little bit more. You know, you have to sometimes suffer. You have to run. Speaking in Italian, you have to suffer. You have to run. You have to, you know, tighten your teeth. Even when you're in I don't know. Tighten your teeth is not. There's no. You can't translate that directly from Italian to English. You can't say. Tighten your teeth is not an expression, but he said that in Italian, which means you gotta, you know, just concentrate. You know, put in your maximum effort. Anyways, and he says Sassuolo in the games against Milan, Lazio, and Atalanta did well, so we knew it was going to be a difficult game. Do you feel that Spalletti has confidence in you? And he says, yes, I'm super happy. We're all very important in this moment in time, both when I play from the start and also when I enter. In the middle of the game, I try to help my teammates, giving it 100%. We know it's been an incredible season, and I hope we're doing well and continue to do well. And now they ask him about, and the Champions League is coming up, and he says yes. Up to now, we did something very nice in the Champions League, but let's see how it goes this week. We know that we go up against a very difficult team, but we're going to try to also play our football there. And they ask him about the atmosphere in the stadium today, and he says, yeah, it's been it was great. We know how warm the Napoli fans are, and you know, so many of them came here, and we hope we can give them something nice at the end of the season. So that's Elmas for you. I know I've got this Spalletti photo for the press conferences. It's just because I can't predict which player is gonna, you know, give some interviews. So it's always gonna be Spalletti there, regardless of who speaks. Right, final push for me. This is gonna be one of the longest lives. If there is someone here from the very start, what are you doing, bro? You are crazy. Listening to me speak for an hour, more than an hour and a half. But I appreciate you. Anyways, guys, we're almost there. Spalletti's press conference. Let's see what he had to say. All right. Spalletti's press conference. He says, great first half. You know, we created a lot of possibilities for scoring even more goals. We did some very nice individual pieces of play. And these are part of the aspects that the players have. They've got great individual quality. You know, sometimes when we're not able to, you know, make it work as a team, we can rely on individual performances like we sometimes did today. So yeah, he's saying all these things about, you know, the individual performances of the players, and he's saying actually that we weren't as ferocious as we should have been. But anyways, today was a great victory and a great game. Let's see. If I want to compare with other games, maybe I liked this one in terms of how we managed the advantage more, he says. And obviously then he talks about Kvara's goal. You know, he started from far away, and he's got extremely light feet. He can go away from any type of tackle, And Osimhen as well did today an incredible goal. So, you know, a lot of praise for the individual performances today of the players. And I think it's fair to do that. You know, I mean, two great goals. They ask him about the fact that he's coached 1,000 games. And he says, yeah, I mean, it's nice. But I also have to think about all the sleep that this has deprived me. Experience is only useful to... okay, I need some time when I usually if I translate someone speaking, you know, it's quite easy, but Spalletti is so poetic when he says stuff that I need to really I need to read it, try to understand what he's saying, and then I can translate it, because he goes all over the place. He's like Shakespeare, right? He uses all sorts of analogies, metaphors, similes, whatever you want. You know, he's got it in there. So let me just read what he says. Okay. He's saying, okay, in a very long way, he basically said, guys, okay, I have a lot of experience, but experience is only experience when you use your past to understand what it is that you need to do in the future. If you just say, I played 1,000 games, so this gives me experience, it doesn't, because you could play 1,000 games and not have learned anything. So he's saying, look, experience is only useful if you actually do something with it. So yeah, wow, he literally, that whole concept, he took dude, the whole quote was like this big. You have no idea. So man, this guy fucking loves poetry. Dom stream shaming the NT Ultras. Yeah. How are the exams going, bro? Says Napoli Nation TV. I've got one more to do. The others went okay. I was telling them earlier, someone already asked me. I was telling them earlier how I the one right after the Napoli stream on Monday, I thought I did well, walked out of the exam. Someone asked me, what did you write for question 3? I said, what question 3? There was only 2 questions. They're like, no, there were 3 questions. It's like, come on. How did I not realize there were 3 questions? So yeah, I think I'm gonna be penalized a bit there. Anyways, let's continue with Spalletti. This, you know, that happened because I was with you guys, you know, the night before. I should have been sleeping, resting, you know, I would have been more concentrated, but no, I decided to go live. I'm kidding. That has nothing to do with you guys. So they asked Spalletti, how do you choose between Oliveira and Mario Rui? And he says, look, it's extremely difficult because you've got also, you know, 2 very good players. Mario Rui has some incredible qualities. When he has the ball, from a technical point of view, he's very strong. From a physical point of view, he has a bit less than Oliveira, who's got a motor in him. He's able to cover more distance and put in what we want more in each game. The essential thing is that neither of these players think that they are a reserve, or that they start counting how many minutes they play. You always have to think about the collective. Sometimes, for example, you only play 1 game out of 5, but that 1 game that you play guarantees your team a win. And so, you know, maybe it's much more valuable to have you play that game, as opposed to if you had played the other 4 games and we wouldn't have gotten a win with you in those 4 games, because it was a different type of opposition. That's what he's trying to say, right? It's not about how much you play, but it's about playing when it suits you, and thus helping the team. For example, Zerbin today played 5 minutes, but he played 5 very good minutes, showing that he can play in many Serie A teams if he wanted to. And this is the right level of maturity that we want with these players. So yeah, when we first started, I had a lot of sleepless nights trying to decide which one is better than the other, which one can solve a game for me. Then naturally, there's also some club level decisions that need to be made. I am convinced that if Mertens, Fabian Ruiz, and Koulibaly would have stayed, we would have also had a very good season, because a lot of what happened this season is a result of the foundations that we laid last season. For some people, you need 3 to 4 years. For us, it just happened to be that we only needed 1 year of preparation. So yeah. So at the end of the day, I think what Spalletti is trying to say, again, he uses very complicated ways of saying things. What he's trying to say is that it doesn't matter which player is playing. The fact is that for 1 year, they just trained really well, laid some really good foundations, and so anyone can slot into the system now. And because the other 7, 8 players know what they're doing, it's also easier for that person to come in and know what they're doing. So you could play Mario Rui, you could play Oliveira, it doesn't really matter, even though there are some games that one is better than the other. And Osimhen, he confirms that everything is okay. And yeah, and now we got to focus on Eintracht Frankfurt. So that's Spalletti. I don't know, today he was a bit weird. I mean, he obviously said a bit more about those last two topics, but I don't know why today he was being so mysterious with a lot of what he was saying. Like, I literally had to try to interpret, instead of just giving you guys the raw translation. I had to be like, whoa, what's he trying to say here? I don't know why he does that sometimes. It's weird. Just, make it simple. Make it easy for me, bro. I'm trying to I'm reading in Italian and speaking in English at the same time. It doesn't come natural. You gotta make it easy for me, bro. Anyways, I think we're gonna wrap it up soon. Let me just get a few more comments. TT, thank you, man, for the $3.49 New Zealand dollar donation, dude. Thank you so much. Thanks for the support. Thanks, Dom, for the stream. Forza Napoli. Forza Napoli sempre. Mike Xstad says, I love Mario Rui. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love Mario Rui, man? Everybody loves Mario Rui. We can sell anyone except Osimhen, Kvara, Kemal Lobotka. They are the foundation. I agree. But you know what? Anguissa, man. Anguissa as well. I mean, I think we could sell anyone except those five. Claudine Sermisi says, sorry if I mispronounce your name, says, thanks, Dom. Forza Napoli sempre. Thank you guys for joining. Christoph Kavalets says, Zielinski wants to stay. He loves Napoli and is ready to lower his wages just to be there till the end. Oh, that's good news. Good news. I mean, Zielinski, the fact that he loves Napoli was very clear. I mean, he could have gone to West Ham this summer for more money, and he refused them. And I mean, guys, think about life decisions, right? Right now, West Ham are fighting for relegation, right? So you've got potentially, he could have made potentially a decision which could have relegated him, and he would have, maybe gone to second division of English football next year. Instead, he decided to stay, not take the big money, and now look at him, about to win a title. So sometimes it's, money is not everything, right? So yeah, Hafiz Yusuf, man, thank you for the $5 donation. Always appreciate you being in the chat. I think Hafiz has the record for being, I think, the first comment. Every time I start a live and I scroll all the way up to the comments, I think I see you as the first one, or at least in the first 3. So appreciate you, man. Napoli Nation TV says, Forza Napoli sempre, la capolista se ne va. Oh, I love that song, man. Michelangelo says, Di Lorenzo is so important as captain, him too. Yeah, true. Di Lorenzo, and everybody's like, Di Lorenzo, what about Di Lorenzo? What about Di Lorenzo? Of course. But we take it for granted that Di Lorenzo's not going to leave, guys. Di Lorenzo, I think yeah, he's just Mr. Napoli now, right? I don't even think, here's the thing about Di Lorenzo. I don't think there's many clubs out there that are even going to bother giving him an offer, because they just assume that, oh, he's Napoli's captain, there's no way we're going to get him, right? So he's not really a marketable kind of player, or he's not on the market, right? Whereas people can think like, yeah, I could get, this guy or that guy. But with Di Lorenzo, they're just like, no, he's the captain. Why would I even bother giving why would I even bother giving an offer? Johnny Baum says, I'm going to be the first next time. Guys, it's tough because Hafiz, I think some of his comments even come before the game ends. So, I mean, you have to, like, if you want to be one of the first comments, you have to maybe even at halftime start putting in a comment in the chat. So, it's a lot of dedication. Michelangelo says, Di Lorenzo is so important as captain, him too. And then he says, true, when I answered about the whole captain thing. But Johnny says, I think he can be replaced, but his leadership quality is elite. I don't know, man. I think Di Lorenzo, it's tough to replace him because he's such a good captain. That's part of why it's difficult to replace him. He's got really good leadership. I prefer it compared to the one that we had previously, and I hate bringing that topic up, but it just sneaks in almost every single time. So I'm gonna hold it and not talk about Insigne. But I like Di Lorenzo more as captain. I think he's a real captain and not just because of, unlike some other people. I think also in terms of like quality of a player, he's solid. Like, just always at least a 7 out of 10 performance, and I think tactically he's very useful. As we said before, especially in the stream last time, that basically he plays as a number 10 now. By the way, the stream last time, for the few hundred of you that are still watching, the stream last time got taken down. So if you try to find my stream, it won't be there. YouTube took it down because of a copyright claim from some guy called Leak ID. And if you go on YouTube, there's a bunch of other people complaining about this guy who's just putting copyright claims on all these videos. And it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, why would you? Now I have to go through the hassle of either contacting this guy and like asking him to remove his copyright claim, or I have to go through this stupid process. And yeah, it's just annoying. Anyways, whatever. Yeah, probably a Juve fan sabotaging you, lol. Yeah, but I mean, it's serious, because if you get 3 claims, your channel goes away. So I'm literally 2 claims away from this being deleted forever, right? Obviously, I have a chance to be like, hey, no, I didn't do anything wrong, which is the case, and then they would give it back to me. But by that time, there would probably be maybe like a month before YouTube, sorts it out. So yeah, it's very annoying. Anyways, on that note, wow, it's almost 2 hours. Yeah, on that note, I think I'll call it a day. Let you guys, hear someone else speak, since I've been doing it for nearly 2 hours. The copyright thing is kind of a scam going around on YouTube. I'll DM you the video if I can find it again. Oh, wow. Hafiz Yusuf says, wow, Dom, this is the longest I've seen you stay on the live channel, and I'm loving it. Yeah, nearly 2 hours, guys. Nearly 2 hours. Yeah. Do you, like, it's really bad. Like, it's 2 hours, and I'm getting, like, anxiety. Like, what have I missed in the last 2 hours in real life? Like, I don't know. Like, the fact that you're not able to check your phone. Like, what if I have like an urgent message that I need to check, and I'm just like, no, I'm just chilling on YouTube instead. 2 hours is a long time. It's a long time. Anyways, I don't know why that thought came into my head. What could possibly be happening that needs my urgent intervention in the last 2 hours, as if I'm some kind of like firefighter or something? It's not the case. If someone urgently needs me, they're in a low point in their life. If they urgently and I mean urgent, like life or death, I'm like, what could possibly be happening to you? Well, how could I possibly help you? I wouldn't know the first thing how to help you. Can barely help, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I mean, I don't know why I thought that someone needed like a life or death help. Anyways, whatever, man. This life gets out of hand. Anyways, Jesse Comito Johnny says, damn, I come back and Dom is still live. What a present for all of us. Yeah, at this point, I've just accepted that this is gonna go on forever. We're not leaving. I'm not leaving, guys. No, I have to go. I can't just stay here forever. What if actually I don't leave? What if I like just pause this live, put like a screen that says I'll be back shortly, like sleep, come back tomorrow, start again, with the same live, and we just talk about Napoli some more, and we just keep doing this like every day until the next game. Just one continuous stream for the whole season, and I'll keep the mic on so you guys just have a feel of what's going on in the house. Yeah, that'd be cool. But just like no pressure for me to like actually say anything to you guys. Like you guys just tune in if you wanna, if maybe I'll be speaking about Napoli, but maybe not. That's a stupid idea. Very stupid. Anyways, I'm gonna stop talking a whole bunch of nonsense. I'm gonna end the poll as well. Tighter result than I expected. Elmas with 47% and Zielinski with 53%, which is interesting. Or 52 now. How is it 52 and 47? Something's off with the math there, YouTube. Clearly doesn't add to 100, so there's some sort of rounding mistake. So yeah. Anyways, right, guys, I'm gonna bounce. Because I think we said everything we need to say about Napoli. So guys, hope you have a great time, and see you on Tuesday live, right? And hopefully I'll get a video out before that about Frankfurt. And as always, guys, it's been a pleasure, and Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.